How do I understand copyright law? The basics in 5 minutes. This video is a summary of the Understanding Copyright document available on the Concordia Library website. For more detail on the topics covered here, please consult that document available at the following web address. Did you know that the fine for violating U.S. copyright law is $250,000 per incident? You've probably seen these kinds of things before at the beginnings of videos, but this warning is not just for videos. And yes, people do get sued for violating these laws by upset content creators who feel their work is being used unfairly. We should put ourselves in their shoes. Concordia teachers and students should be aware of copyright law basics so they can make a good evaluation of how copyright law applies to what they would like to do. Here's what this tutorial will cover. If you'd like to take a longer look, pause the video now. And if you'd like to skip around, note at what time each part of the video starts. Part 1. Classroom Teaching and Copyright. In U.S. copyright law, there is a classroom use exemption. This means that things like showing movies, playing music, reading a poem, acting out a drama, and showing a book or artwork are allowable in environments that are nonprofit, feature face-to-face teaching activities, and are located in physical classrooms or other locations devoted to instruction. Part 2. The Fair Use Provision of Copyright Law. Many people have heard of fair use. What is it? It's not just for education. The federal copyright law was first signed by President George Washington in 1790 to promote the progress of science and the useful arts. Fair use simply ensures that there are some kinds of uses that do not require permission or payment. It attempts to protect the rights of creators while still allowing some uses that can benefit society as a whole. For example, it can encourage scholarship, debate, creativity, and innovation. To invoke fair use, all 4 of the following guidelines must be considered. 1. The purpose and character of the use. Is your use for commercial purposes, or is it for nonprofit or educational purposes? 2. The nature of the copyrighted work. For example, you can't photocopy workbooks at all. 3. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work. For example, you can't photocopy a whole book. 4. The effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. How will your use of the work affect its market value? So what about making copies of items, whether paper or digital? Sometimes there are specific guidelines that must be followed. For example, making multiple copies of an article or book chapter for a class is generally something that can only be done for 1 semester. Unless copyright permission is obtained for future uses, this item should not become a regular part of a class syllabus. As a rule of thumb, if the kind of copying that you want to do is not specifically prohibited by the fair use provisions, it is likely to be determined fair by a court under fair use. See the document online for more specifics. Online learning, with particular reference to Blackboard. Based on the TEACH Act that was passed by Congress several years ago, everything that is permissible in a face-to-face classroom is allowed for online learning as well, provided that the school accurately describes and upholds copyright law. Students are told that materials used in their course may have copyright protection and are for classroom use only. Technology is utilized to prevent the keeping and dissemination of copyrighted works outside class sessions, and it is a legitimate copy of the copyrighted work that has been purchased. In other words, it is owned by library, faculty, or staff. Guidelines for multimedia presentations. The primary example of these would be PowerPoint presentations. Copyright-free materials on sites such as Flickr or Wikimedia Commons can be used in these presentations. When using the materials, cite as the author requests, and if there is no request, make sure the author's name, the item's web address, and the Creative Commons license are all somehow noted. This presentation uses all Creative Commons materials. For copyright protected materials, guidelines, not laws in this area, come from a couple documents that you can read about on the web. Pause the tutorial if you'd like to see what they are. Some of the key guidelines are as follows. Students and teachers can use what is necessary, and not more than this, for them to achieve their learning goal. They should have a statement like the following at the beginning of their presentation. The audio and video clips in this presentation are used under fair use guidelines and are restricted from further use. Finally, they should give credit or full bibliographic citation for the specific clips of media, audio, video, etc., in the project. In general, this should include the year the media was first published and the name of the copyright owner and a copyright symbol. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, please contact the Library Reference Desk.